right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. City of Tucson. Yes, you hear my voice. It is Dr. Ho, and I'm back. I am back in the city of Tucson. Yes, I was gone in Rome, Italy for a week. Let me tell you, I've done some amazing work out there. So many opportunities that's jumping off in Rome and spreading out into four different continents. So most definitely very humbled to be on assignment, but I'm back. Miss the studio, miss being back to the Fresh Start family. So this is Dr. Hope. You hear my voice, and we are excited to have you with us on this Saturday morning. And we're thankful for Tom for filling in like he always do when I'm out of town. So thank you so kindly. But your host is back. And so we got Tom, our co-host, in the building on this Saturday morning. And so we just want to say, get up, get up, get up. It's time for you to join us on the Fresh Start Show on this morning. You got 3 reasons to be happy. Number 1, God woke you up this morning. Number 2, he woke you up this morning. Number 3, he woke you up this morning. And so you ought to be thankful, and you ought to be happy to be alive in the land of the living. Listen, I tell you, there's so much to be thankful for, and we ought to have the attitude of gratitude. And so I hope everybody is having an attitude of gratitude. We're just a week away from Father's Day. Yes, Father's Day is coming. And my little 7-year-old daughter already got me a gift. And I said, you're about a week early. She was so happy to just do something for her father. She's a week ahead. So I'm thankful for my baby girl, Drea, for looking out for daddy. And as soon as I got in from Rome and this and that, she had a gift and all kind of stuff. I was just like really impressed. And this is my youngest. So we're just so thankful for just, it's Father's Day coming up. Just want to salute all the fathers, all the fathers of all forms. You heard my story. I was raised in a single parent household. My mom raised me and my little brother, and she had me very young. She got pregnant, I think, at 15, had me at 16. The struggle is real in the hood of Flint, Michigan. She didn't have education. She didn't have a lot of skills. She couldn't, she didn't bring in a lot of money, things like that, and did the best she could raising me. And I didn't have my dad in my life. And I remember growing up feeling rejected, feeling abandoned, and feeling upset, like what was wrong with me that my father didn't even want me. I remember growing up feeling like that. Well, what was wrong with me? Like, I got all my friends, they got football games, they got basketball games and tournaments, and their dads are showing up and rooting for them and all of that. And I remember growing up not having my dad. And let me tell you, absentee fathers affect both. If sons need their fathers, girls need their daddies. Fathers are very, very important. It is, and I'm not going to really be preachy, but it is the order of God for have strong families. And you better believe fathers have everything to do with God's plan. And so I just want to salute all the men that sucked it up and had grit, that had resilience when hardships and disappointments came. You made it happen. Even if you didn't have the answers, even if you was frustrated and scared and you wouldn't even let the family know, you didn't know how it was going to work out, but you manned up, you pulled up your britches and say, you know what? I got to carry this family. I got to take care of my wife. I got to take care of my kids. And so I thank all the hardworking fathers. Secondly, I also would say just because you live in a house doesn't mean that you're emotionally attached and connected to your family. So I also want to salute fathers who also understand the importance of being emotionally available for your children. Some men know how to provide, and think like, well, shoot, you got a roof over your head, you got all that going on. But I really thank God for fathers who understand the importance of being emotionally available. And I don't know why I'm led to go this way. I know we're a week away, and I think because I know that we don't go hard for the fathers like we do for the mothers. And we do have some fathers out there who is really, really doing it really, really hard. And I want to express my appreciation to all the dads out there. So if you're a biological father, keep on doing what you're doing for your kids. If you're a stepfather, you married into a family and you're raising kids as your own, I want to salute you as a father. Grandfathers, I want to salute you as well. Football coaches that act like fathers for kids that don't have fathers in their lives, I want to support you. Godfathers, spiritual fathers, even in church. Sometimes your pastor have been spiritual fathers. So fathers of all kind. We know we're about a week away, but for whatever reason, I just want to go into that mode of celebrating all the men that know how to man up. I appreciate all the masculine men. We're in a season where they try to strip that away from men. There's a difference between feminist and feminine. And there's a feminist movement that's trying to strip the power of masculinity from a man. And so I just want to just thank all the manly men, that's unapologetic, that's not male chauvinistic, that's not sexist or anything like that. That's not masculinity either, but masculine men that know how to be men, that's not ashamed about being a man and doing the manly things, taking care of responsibility, but also when you're wrong, know how to have accountability. That's also about being a man as well. When you're wrong, apologize. When you're wrong, don't have no crazy ego that you can't say you're sorry. Or another one too, when we get our masculinity distorted, we think we can't be emotional and cry, and shed tears. And real grown men understand in a safe space of being human, there's a time you should cry. Sometimes tears keep you from going to prison and doing something stupid. Sometimes you need to release and do all those things. So that's my direction. I think, Tom, I feel led to go as we're getting close to Father's Day going into next week, that I want to just start showing some honor and giving some dads some flowers. We always hear about deadbeat dads, and we always hear about the man that's not doing right, and men's caught up in scandals. But what about the man that's doing it right?
I completely agree, Robert. I mean, it's funny because last week on the show we talked about it where I was a crummy dad, bro. And I said things while I was in prison in the visitation room in front of my daughter that I didn't understand what I was saying was having a traumatic effect on her. And would years later estrange us. And so it's difficult, bro, because I want the dad. I want the daughter. I want all, and I know there's a lot of dudes, bro, that are in there that want to have a relationship
Most
with
definitely.
their kids. And because of what happened, that's estranged, and they're separated and they're divided, and because of the relationship with mom and the inmate, I'm not bringing my kids to that place to see you. And so I want to say, let me give them some hope. Because it's never over.
Never over.
Like you said at the very beginning of the show, you woke up today. Right? You are blessed by God today. You got a chance. And if there's a chance, open your mouth and take it. At every opportunity, bro, I want to try to reconcile that relationship. And I know most of the people that I know from prison, they want their kids, bro. I mean, they want that relationship with their kids, and they want to be.
A lot of the men are getting themselves together because of their kid, right? That's on their heart. Like, I've learned this. I'm up in here for 15, 20 years. I done lost a lot. I missed a lot. I missed first days of walking. I missed teeth growing in. I missed kindergarten, school graduation, weddings. Bro. Like, when I get out, it's all cylinders blazing about building those. And one of the things too, and I know, I'm glad we're having this, this kind of conversation, because I don't think we ever went there. And we also have ex-wives, ex-girlfriends weaponize. You know,
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
can't see your kids. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like we ain't together. Oh, you
Yeah.
ain't seeing your kid. Oh,
That's
you
right.
moving on with somebody else.
Right.
You can't see your kids. Or you in prison. You can't see your kids. I think the first thing, and I speak also not just as a father, not just as a pastor, but as a doctor too. I think the importance of emotional availability. Working that's kind of like your first step. Even you can start the steps of being emotionally available to your kid, even though you're not physically there. You know, with technology there and all kind of different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
You know, there's some starts.
Yeah.
You know what you can do to build.
Yeah, you know how to write a letter.
Yeah.
You know how to pick up a phone.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you can find a way to reestablish contact and start building a relationship
You know,
from
right.
from one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
make sure that the opportunity is there, and for the opportunity to be there, bro, you have to open the lines of communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's got to be you.
Yeah.
You know, because your
And you
kids.
got to show accountability. You know,
Yeah.
there's,
Come
you
on.
know, you got to show accountability. There's no perfect book out there that's going to give you, that's going to make you a perfect and pristine parent. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been blessed to raise my kids, you know, and I wanted to make sure that my 4 kids didn't experience what I went through. I went my whole life without my dad. I am 50 years old, and there's 50 birthdays without a birthday card, or birthday gift. There's 50 Christmases there was no fire truck or no Transformer toys under the tree that came from my father. So I know what that's like. I mean, to the point to where it's weird to say dad.
Yeah.
The reason why it's weird for me to say dad to a man is because I never had that, right? So I wanted to make sure that when my kids came into the world, that I was in their lives, you know, and I was really blessed to be able to personally raise my kids, even when my older kids, you know, marriage didn't work out and relationship work out. I got custody of my kids, and I raised them when they were all the way up to teenager on my own as a single dad. I didn't get it always right.
Right.
I've made some mistakes. That's the accountability. Now I'm having conversations with they're in their 20s, and when they come over, I'm like, you know, you remember that situation? You know, I'm sorry about that. I didn't handle that right. You know, and they was just like looking at me like, Dad, what's wrong? You know, I'm like, no, I'm just at a space where I'm self-reflecting. I'm at a space where, you know, my kids is my legacy. I want them to have dreams of having a good relationship with their dad, not Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
You know, so there's also accountability I have to take and say, you know what, I probably didn't handle that one. Now that I'm thinking about it, you know, so there's always room, even for fathers who's raising their kids. Like, we didn't always get it right. We mimic what we saw.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe, you know, I spank sometimes my kids. I say, you know, I probably shouldn't have spanked you then. I probably should have had a saint that I'm talking to them like that, you know.
Yeah.
And they were looking at me like, wow, you know. But I thank God also for my children that they also gave me grace to the way they're like, no, it's all right, Dad. You was doing the best you could, and we was acting up, and you was the only one that, you know, in the house that was raising us. You know, so it's just, I don't know. I just feel, you know, somehow just on fatherhood, as we're getting close to Father's Day, I just think this is just a great segment to be speaking to that space. I know men are thinking stuff, they're feeling things, especially those who are in prison, like, dang, man, my kids is 25. I saw him, you know, I was 2 months old, you know what I mean? And so much time went by.
My belief, bro, was if I'm going to have kids, man, I'm going to do it all different than my dad did it.
Yeah.
Because you know what? My dad was working 2, 3, 4 jobs all the time. Never saw him. Yeah. We had Christmas gifts under the tree and stuff.
Right.
But there was nobody there.
Yeah, that's
bro.
that emotional
You know,
availability.
right. And then we got 5 kids. We got 5 boys and a little girl. And you know what? You never got any attention, bro, because Dad was working all the time. When he came home, he was tired. But you know what? If you got in trouble, you got Dad's attention.
Right.
And for me, bro, positive attention or negative attention is still attention. And if I'm seeking attention, I'm going to get it.
Yeah, right.
And I did.
Right. Yeah.
That's fair.
What was going on? When you in the building?
Man,
Talk,
man. No. I'm sorry. I apologize. I just wanted to say on a side note of speaking on, mine is the opposite of just that. Mine was, I was looking for that father. So where I seen the big baller, or I seen the successful man, or I seen the idolization of certain characters and people, those were things that I was looking at, trying to reflect as being a parent. And mine were TV emulations. You know, so my dad was a Bill Cosby, or my dad was a Ronald Reagan, or my dad was was somebody that was influential, somebody that was intelligent, somebody that had something going on. And I think that's what we look at as people. I mean, children. I think we look at what makes us better is the people that's in front of us.
Yeah. Very important. I was looking at some stats. I actually going to be, even at my church, we're doing men's ministry tomorrow. And it showed the status showed that if a youth joined the church, 4% the family would join the church. If a mom joined the church, I think she was like around like 20, 30%. But when the man, when the father joined the church and came to worship, 91% of the family. 91. Don't you tell me, man. Don't you tell me a man doesn't matter in the house. You know, in this culture where we're trying to strip the masculinity of men of being men, and trying to make it seem like, you know, women out here can just be all by themselves. And yes, you can be a single woman, you can be a successful business single woman, but there's still nothing like the God's plan of having that father, having that covering, having that leader, having that provider, protector, and sustainer in the home. Listen, we see that when men are involved, there's crime reduction in the community. You show me not just a family structure, but a community that is absence without dads and men heavily engaged, involved, the crime is high. Well, we also see stats change in poverty. When a father, man, listen, I don't know.
Incredible numbers, bro.
Man,
incredible numbers in the difference.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That when men and when dads are involved with their families and community, we see a huge change even in poverty. So we even see with self-esteem issues with girls, when they don't have their fathers, they're more risky in behavior, they're more promiscuous, and there's data that talks about that teenage pregnancy when the father's not there and he's not emotionally available and men are not around to be fatherly. It impacts the family structure, it impacts the community structure, it impacts most definitely the congregation. So yeah, man, there's something that needs to be said in this space.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
That data on what you just said, the brain, especially with you being a scientist of that, is the brain masculine part is something that pushes a person to strive even more.
Yeah.
The feminine part of the brain is things that corrals or protects something around it.
Yeah.
So the masculine part of a man being in a household is so paramount. That is
most definitely
unbelievable. And now I recognize when I heard them guys in the joint say stuff like, let me say hi to my son, or let me say hi to my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just the emphasis on let me say hi. It means something.
It's crazy, bro, because a single mother and a single father raising kids is 3 times more likely than the children of a single mother to go to prison.
Oh, most definitely.
3 times more likely for that kid to go to prison.
Go to prison without that father being there.
Yeah.
And this is the danger, I believe, with incarceration as well.
Yes.
When all these men are locked
Take them away.
You are imploding the family structure.
Stripping it.
Right?
Yeah,
you are imploding the family structure. You are stripping the masculinity that our community needs, away when all these men are locked up. There it's not just you are punishing those who broke the law, but you're stripping the family structure of all these men that are locked up. And not only they locked up, but when they go into prison, their brain is rewired. They're more detached. They're more dissociative, right? And so when they're released, yeah, you got your papers. You may have your certificate of absolute discharge,
that's about all
but
you
mentally
got.
your brain ain't discharged,
absolutely.
right?
That's right. That's right, bro. We're not coming back into society anywhere close to what we left society as.
Exactly.
You know, and we left society broken, bro.
Yeah.
We're not coming back in
Right.
fixed because
Right.
there ain't no tools in the prison system fixing people.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You know,
That's
there's
right.
nobody working with instruments. There's nobody sitting down with people and saying, "How can we help you?" That's not the way it works, bro.
Yeah.
We're sitting down with a whole bunch of other broken people trying to figure out what the next move is.
Yes.
Because
yes.
we're going to be here for a long time.
For a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And
For a long time. Absolutely.
Don't we know?
For a long time. And you made me think of slavery when you said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
But
didn't
it is some
only
way it
it
is.
didn't only impact the people, but the slave owners took the man away from the house because of the fact of what you just said.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
knew
That's right.
if he take that away,
That's right.
the rest will fall.
That's right.
So society standards on brainwashing people is the recidivism of people
Yeah.
that are going in. It is reflecting that back on the community and aspect of what is it hurting more? The men, children, the men, women, the mothers,
And then
the
you
grandmothers.
Go, and then you go into our stats as African Americans and communities of color. We're 70% single households. 70 freaking percent. More black homes are raising kids with no dads is at 70%. Black single parent households has a 70% fatherless rate.
and lost the phrase before
So that
you
means
even got in.
30% of black fathers are in black homes raising their kids. And that's also, there's some other dynamics, right? We also talk about, government has a lot to do with that as well. Like, we're not going to help you if you have your dad at home, right? You can't get assistance if your dad is at home. You can't get
Tell
food
'em,
stamps.
baby.
You don't
Tell 'em.
qualify if
Tell
your
'em.
dad is at home, right? You can't get Section 8 housing if the dad is at home. But automatically you make too much. You're disqualified. So we went through the 70s, starting with the 70s, going into the 80s, of excluding even black fathers from even being in the homes just because families couldn't even qualify for resources.
Yeah, that structure
so the
is just
father
dumb.
had to be out of the home in order for the kids to be able to eat. I mean, so that's why I said there's some extra
that's an-
dynamics,
yeah,
but that's
yeah.
there. That data is there.
Yeah, that percentage is up there. But
Yeah.
there's a whole nother percentage that there's a separation in the house because
Yeah.
of something, or because of a warrant,
Yeah.
or because
Right.
you got
Right.
fines and you got fees,
Right.
and we can't
Right.
put that on you and
Right.
the family, so we got to live separate
Yeah.
because we can't be looking
Yeah.
over our shoulder.
Exactly.
And we're dealing with that all the time, bro.
Yeah.
We're talking about that all
That's
the
right.
time.
That's
You know,
right.
we
That's
just
right.
quashed a bunch of warrants at
Fresh start.
Right.
Yeah,
Come on
yeah,
now.
Yeah,
Fresh start,
that's
man.
what we're doing, and fresh start, I could just see the possibilities that fresh start can go in a lot of ways, not just dealing with incarceration, but what does family look like, and how can fresh start make an impact on that? How do we recruit fathers? Even when men come out, yeah, we helping you illegally, but maybe we should be looking at how do we do some kind of fatherhood initiative, helping men, get themselves together so they can rebuild their families again, So I think there's a lot of room on this where we can go. There's a lot of meat on the bone as far as vision, what Fresh Start can do. And I'm thinking about those things. But I know the family piece is huge because without families, you have nothing. There's no society. There's no city without families. There's no county without families. There's no nation without families. If everything starts out with that, and the more broken men are,
Ain't no doubt.
come on here, right?
I was a part of that Million Man March when we was in prison, Dr. Hope.
Yeah,
And when the reach out for that was so big with guys just talking about it,
yeah.
I never knew just how much a man mattered to a life, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know it, man.
Yeah.
I thought the man was you had to be strong
Yeah.
and you had to been resourceful and you had to been people were scared of you.
Yeah.
But it come back to what you said. No, that real man is the one to shed a tear and let you know that.
That's right.
hey,
And we're
come here.
flawed.
I
And he's
love
going to
you.
be there.
I
we're
love you.
flawed.
A real
Yeah.
man is going to be there.
I love
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Ain't no doubt.
Yep. Yep. And whenever challenges come, me and also I figure it out. Even in your heart, you're
Oh,
like, I
my
don't know what the heck.
goodness.
I don't know. I don't know how. But
Come on.
but I know my family needs
Ain't no
some
doubt.
security to know like I'll figure it out. Now I probably don't know yet. But I need to calm my family, let me know we're gonna make this. I'm gonna help make this thing work,
And we've been talking about it for years, bro, getting
Yeah.
with the attorney general on
Yeah.
the child support and all of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's separating fathers from the family.
It
And
is.
we got to have that influence. As Christ leads the church, the father leads the household. And that hasn't changed a lick,
That's
man.
right.
And you can't change those words from the way they were written thousands of years
That's
ago.
right. That's right. Yeah, we need it. We've got out of time. We're about a minute away.
Wow.
So this is good. We're going to do to be continued next Saturday, which would be the day before Father's Day. So we're really going to go in on dads and fatherhood and all that on next week. But as we're closing out time, we got some great announcements that we have.
Man, we got Market on the Move next Saturday. Rally for Reentry is going to be July 23rd. The August 7th is the second chance at the community center. Look it up. Fresh Start International on Facebook, fresh-start.international, the webpage, Demond @ or Thomas @ and you can get a hold of us. The Fresh Start radio show Saturdays, 106.3 The Groove at 7:30 a.m. YouTube subscription at 10:30 The Voice. Write us at Fresh Start International, care of Bustos Media, 3222 South Ritchie, 124-266, Tucson, Arizona, 85719.
All right, there you got it. We out of here. Thank you for choosing us on the 106 The Groove. We
Fresh
see you next
Start.
Saturday
Fresh
at
Start.
7:30, where we're gonna celebrate more fathers. Have a great day and happy Father's Day to everyone.